North Korea is building its biggest warship in history. But behind the glossy headlines, retired U.S. Navy officers warn there's a problem so basic it could cripple the whole project. It's not the steel, it's not the engines, it's the one thing every modern Navy relies on, and Pyongyang has never mastered it. You'll want to know this detail before calling their new frigate a game changer. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. At the Namp'o shipyard, a massive silhouette has been rising from the docks, catching the eyes of satellite watchers and analysts alike. What they saw wasn't another coastal corvette or missile boat, but something altogether different. A 459-foot guided missile frigate dwarfing every vessel North Korea has launched before. Just the scale alone signaled a shift. For decades, Pyongyang's naval forces were built around small strike craft suited for ambushes along their shallow coastline. But this ship, longer than a U.S. Navy destroyer escort from the Cold War, looked like an attempt to push into much larger waters. The visible features made the buzz even louder. Satellite images suggested rows of vertical launch tubes along the deck, a hallmark of modern missile ships. Mock-ups of phased array radar panels appeared on the superstructure, a type of sophisticated sensor technology most navies struggle to master. State propaganda claimed the frigate was designed to strike both land and sea targets, with an ability to extend the reach of the Korean People's Navy far beyond the peninsula. To citizens watching the unveiling footage, it seemed Pyongyang had finally caught up with naval powers that spent decades building integrated fleets. The comparison to earlier ships couldn't have been more stark. North Korea's largest operational combatants until now were aging corvettes, barely stretching beyond 300 feet. Many of them still relied on 1960s-inspired weapons suites, naval guns with limited range, and outdated fire control systems. Patrol boats and missile craft, often measuring less than 150 feet, formed the bulk of the fleet. Against that backdrop, the sudden appearance of a frigate over 450 feet long made the jump look enormous, as if the Navy had skipped several decades of incremental progress in one stroke. For strategists, that made it more than a technical upgrade. It was symbolic. Building the largest vessel in the nation's naval history isn't just about steel and missile launchers. It suggests a desire to show capability beyond the familiar defensive posture. Right now, North Korea's naval activity rarely strays far from its shore bases in the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan. But a ship this size implies ambitions to project a presence further, to patrol shipping lanes, and to appear as a player in maritime disputes outside the peninsula. That symbolic aspect is what raised questions in foreign capitals. Reports show analysts first noticed signs of the project in early 2023, piecing together satellite photos of hull construction and dockyard movements. What began as speculation turned into recognition. Pyongyang was building its most ambitious warship yet. By late 2023, the U.S. Navy was tracking the hull more closely, aware that a frigate of that class, even if not perfect, could complicate the balance in the region. After all, if the ship were to field operational missile batteries, even with limited range, it could threaten U.S. or Allied patrols in contested waters. That's where the suspense grows. Could this be the long-awaited breakout platform, allowing North Korea to move beyond coastal harassment tactics into true blue water operations? A frigate of this size, if properly equipped, could sail far from home bases, shadow merchant vessels, or disrupt exercises conducted by neighbors. And with rumors of Russian technical assistance trickling through, the possibility that advanced sensors or weapons could be transferred gives weight to the fear it might not be ceremonial at all. Even components like radar calibration or fire control algorithms could radically improve its combat potential if outside expertise were involved. To the outside observer, the message was clear. North Korea wanted to intimidate. A frigate towering over its traditional patrol boats projects more than power. It projects transformation. The sight of vertical launch tubes and radar panels sends the image of a Navy advancing years ahead. But as attention moved from the glossy photos to the unseen demands of making a warship fight, the question shifted. Could this giant vessel, for all its size, actually operate as a modern frigate? Or was it about to reveal its most dangerous weakness? A ship this large may look powerful, but retired naval officers warn the real danger isn't what you can see, it's what you can't. From the outside, the North Korean frigate looks menacing. Tall radar panels, missile tubes pointing skyward, and a long steel hull ready to cut through the water. But reality in naval warfare is harsh. Steelwork and propulsion are the simple parts. Building a big shell is something even modest shipyards can manage. The real battlefield today lies in electronics, integration, and coordination of complex systems working together in real time, under threat and stress. That's the part North Korea has never demonstrated, and it's why experts remain cautious. Modern warfare is built around networks. It isn't enough to mount radar dishes and missile tubes. A warship must tie together every element on board: communications with the fleet, radar detection of air threats, sonar mapping under the waterline, and fire control systems directing weapons. When one element fails to talk to another, confusion sets in, and combat effectiveness drops to near zero. Engineers call this integration, and it is where advanced navies spend the most time and money. Western frigates, even with advanced industry backing them, take years of testing before they operate reliably. Computer code has to be debugged. Sensors require calibration. Crews must drill until responses are second nature. Without it, the ship is just metal floating on water, unable to fight as one organism. Imagine a human body with no connection between its senses and muscles. The eyes may see an enemy, the ears may hear a warning, and the arms may hold weapons. But if none of it links to the brain properly, the body can't act in time. A ship without integration is exactly like that. The eyes, radars, and sensors might detect an aircraft approaching. The ears, radio receivers, might capture signals. The muscles, missiles, and guns might be ready. But if there's no functioning brain tying them together, the detection is useless. Seconds lost in confusion can mean total destruction when facing a cruise missile moving at hundreds of miles per hour. This is where North Korea faces its greatest challenge. They have proven they can build a hull, they can mount visible equipment, but keeping it all synchronized requires not only advanced electronics, but also generations of trained engineers and sailors who know how to operate, troubleshoot, and sustain the technology over long deployments. Maintainers must have spare parts ready. Logistic systems must supply replacements when components fail. Training programs must produce officers who understand how to read and react to complicated sensor data instantly. Without those, the ship may look imposing at its launch ceremony, yet break down or fall confused during the first engagement. There is speculation that Russian assistance could close some of these gaps. If Moscow provides radar modules, fire control software, or missile technology, North Korea could gain advanced components it cannot produce itself. But even then, the problem doesn't vanish. Imported units require an entire support chain, qualified technicians, specialized training, and a steady pipeline of spare parts. Without those, the high-tech equipment risks turning into decoration the moment it malfunctions. North Korea's history shows difficulties sustaining advanced gear over time. Tanks, aircraft, and submarines acquired from abroad often degrade quickly once parts run out. That raises the critical question: when the ship faces real combat pressure, with multiple threats detected at once, what happens if integration cracks under stress? It could misidentify friendly ships. It could fail to track incoming missiles fast enough. Fire control may lag behind sensor warnings. In a modern naval fight, hesitation of even 30 seconds can decide survival or loss. North Korea can now point to its biggest warship as a symbol of progress, but without the ability to integrate sensors, weapons, and command structures, that size risks meaning little in combat. Warships are judged not on launch ceremonies, but on whether they can fight and survive weeks at sea. That takes logistics, training, and sustainment, qualities Pyongyang has struggled to display. True naval power is measured by cohesion and reliability, not publicity shots from a dockyard. The open question remains whether Russia's deeper involvement could shift that balance, or if North Korea's structural flaws will always hold them back.